We're bringing in former Locked On Red Wings host Nolan Bianchi to help talk Red Wings and preview the Philadelphia Flyers today on Locked On Red Wings.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Wow, that is fancy, boys. Where did you get that?
They give that to you. They give you all these assets.
We do, man. The YouTube transition.
Unbelievable. You guys are on your way up in this world, huh?
Scotty's already
that's one
big
hell
time.
of an intro.
I'm riding Scotty's coattails, to be honest.
It's funny because when you're not here, he says the opposite every time.
That's not true.
It is true.
It's about 50-50 split.
Fair enough.
Welcome back to Locked On Red Wings. We're your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley, and today, the specialist of guests.
He's back, baby.
He's back. The boy is back. Nolan Bianchi, former host here, the man who hired me
and me
to be the editor, and Scotty.
Brought both of us on, baby.
Yeah, he really did. He brought up, he made this podcast what it was. And, you know, we're talking about riding coattails. Let's be honest. We're both riding Nolan's coattails.
Absolutely. Damn right, baby.
He walked so we could run. He crawled so we could walk. Let's be honest.
Damn right. Damn right. I agree.
Nolan, how you doing, man? It's been a while. What, since late October?
Yeah, doing well. Going through a little case of identity theft at the moment, so that part hasn't been great. But everything else, I would say, for the most part, has been going pretty well.
That over.
Staying busy.
Identity,
well, it's like an 11-day affair at this point. And today I was at the police station. I was at the bank. That's what I was doing literally all day. I had to take a little mental health walk so that we could congregate here today in a clear headspace. But I'm ready to go. Everything else is going not so bad in life, and it's good to see you guys. Good to be back.
Oh,
hell yeah, baby!
Scotty and I ball. We ball.
Hey,
we ball.
The mental health walks. Those will really help you out. Those will really give you a nice headspace.
You need to do it every once in a while. And I found that I actually enjoy them a lot more in the winter than I thought I would. If you just got a nice coat, put your hood up and try and do something to block that wind from hitting your face, it's all Gucci. So big fan of the mental health walks, and it was a great one today.
So outside of getting your identity stolen, how's life going? How's Free Press going? Or Detroit News? I'm sorry. Detroit News.
Gonna have to cut that.
Cut that.
Gonna have to cut that.
Detroit News.
Detroit News going well. I've been doing some freelancing at a couple different places. Actually, just filed a story to Our Detroit Magazine last week on Chris Draper, Dan Cleary, their love of pickleball, which is basically tennis for old people. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a very fun piece. It's going to be in magazine and online, so that's been pretty cool. Other than that, just staying busy with a whole bunch of random stuff. I covered a squash tournament out in Birmingham last weekend. Kind of coming to the end of football season here. I was obviously doing a lot during that time of year, but now things are kind of starting to open up, and just working on a couple things, working on a couple bigger projects and a couple smaller projects, still writing for playmichigan.com as well. So been very busy.
You've been all over the place.
All over the place.
Squash
baby.
Tournaments. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, no, they pay very well too.
Wow.
I feel like that's an electric thing to cover, honestly.
It was like the world's best, which like at any sport, if you have like the number 1, 2, 3 players in the world, it's going to be amazing. And like I had a front row seat to it, and it was just elite squash, and I had an absolute blast. It was one of like the most fun things I've ever covered. You know, when like you come to like the end of a vacation and you have that feeling of like, damn, I don't want to go home. That's how I felt at the end of the tournament. So
So it was the best in the world. It was right here.
Yeah, Birmingham, Michigan. This is the it was at the Motor City Open. Go check it out, motorcityopen.com. You can check out some fine reporting there. But basically, it's the largest or second largest squash tournament in the United States on a year-to-year basis in terms of prestige. Wow. So if you have the chance next year, I would say go check it out. It's pretty awesome.
I'm there, man. You ain't got to tell me twice. I'm there. That's sick.
I'll see you there.
So regarding those those Detroit Red Wings, I see you're still very active on Twitter, tweeting about them. A lot of times I want to steal your videos because you're still the first person to post videos.
I still steal his gifts. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I'm like,
Absolutely, I do.
No shame on this guy.
You push on you push on the video and you hit.
Man, it says from Nolan. You're on there.
Yeah, you get the credit automatically.
It's all good. It's all good.
Obviously you've been watching it very closely, and we just kind of want to get your perspective as former hosts here at Locked On Red Wings. What have you been seeing from the Red Wings this season? What have you been liking?
Well, I think, first off, I should point out that I was absolutely dead on in my assessment of how this season would go, or what I at least thought this ideal season would be for the Red Wings this year, which is they would be scrappy. They would be within a couple points of a playoff spot, within a single-digit amount of points of a playoff spot. As the trade deadline approaches, you ship off a couple pieces, you sink back to 6 through 10 in the draft lottery odds, and you call it a day. What I did not expect, because they have pretty much done that to a T. What I did not expect is the peak to be so good, because this was a very, very good, exciting hockey team for a very short amount of time at the beginning of the season. And I think we all knew that water was going to find its level. And it has in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it kind of hasn't. So they've started to sink a little bit, but you're still getting a great run out of Dylan Larkin. He's got 44 points in 42 games this year. You're still getting production out of Tyler Bertuzzi, Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond, not as much as maybe he was at the beginning of the year, kind of slowing up a little bit, but still very impressive from him. And you have to love the fact that they are still within, a couple spots of making the playoffs at this point. So I think as a whole, this season has gone exactly how they would have wanted. It's just a matter of, where do they finish in the draft lottery odds if they don't make the playoffs, which I don't think they will, but we'll see.
What who you dishing at the deadline there, bud?
Well, as I said, also in our season preview episode that we did right before I left, Vlad Namestnikov was my bold prediction for a guy who plays so well that he gets traded at the deadline. I know that is a very hot topic. I brought it up before we even start recording here, and you guys said we are a Vlad Namestnikov podcast. That's fine. I am with you on that. But the fact of the matter is he's got 22 points in 47 games. He's not the greatest player in the world, despite what we might think about him because of the fact that he really wants to be here and he has heritage ties to here. I love Vlad Namestnikov. I think he's a great dude. Seems like a good guy. He's a very, very good hockey player, but you don't pass up the chance to pick up some draft assets or whatever it may get you at the deadline because you think you might want to re-sign a guy who has 12 goals in 47 games. You need those guys, but you don't turn down draft picks because of it.
Right.
No, that's fair. And looking at it with the blinders off, that is an honest and honestly a accurate summation. I do think he'll get moved at the deadline. My heart says no. It's like how you were with Adam Ernie before you left. We were an Adam Ernie podcast before you left. Now we're a Vlad Namestnikov podcast.
That's fair. That's fair.
You got that jersey yet?
Yeah,
no. It's still sitting in my it's right here. I'll actually grab it for you. It's still sitting in my closet, uncustomized.
Oh man.
His headphones are
Adam Ernie jersey, man.
So there we go there.
Oh,
still got the tags on and everything.
Oh no.
There it is. What a beauty. What an absolute beauty.
It was one of those things where I didn't have it in time for opening night, and then my desire to do it just
plummeted.
Yeah. So
because he hasn't done
maybe one day, maybe this summer, maybe next opening night, I'll wear the Adam Ernie jersey.
There you go.
So that I can still make good technically on my promise.
True. Very
there you
true.
Go. But with Vlad, I do see a path for him to be on this team for a few more seasons because he's a very diverse player. You can put him anywhere in the lineup and he's going to play fine. You put him in the bottom six, he's going to play great. Put him in the top six, he's going to suffice. He's been playing top line minutes up until Zadina practice with the top line
it's a whole
yesterday.
Bag there.
It's a whole different bag. We'll get into that, I'm sure, in the second segment. But with Namestnikov, because he wants to be here so bad, I wouldn't even be opposed to not shipping him out and signing him to a short-term extension, 2-3 years, because he's not over the hill quite yet. He's a half-point per game player. But that's my bias speaking. Logically, of course, shipping him out at the trade deadline would be the wisest decision. And then he's a UFA at the end of the season. There's nothing to say he can't come back.
Damn right.
Exactly. And I think it's, I do think it's very, very dangerous to get in the line of thinking of, oh, yeah, we'll just trade him at the deadline and then he'll come back in the
Oh, it
offseason
is. It's very
because, like, I
dangerous.
feel like that's always something that people just think, but they're definitely
never happens.
overvaluing the
Never
attachment that these professional athletes have to their respective city or team. With Namestnikov, I obviously think that is very genuine, the love that he has for Detroit. You can kind of see it every time he scores the goal. He grabs his jersey, he's doing the Red Wing logo thing. And I love that. But again, if you sign him to a 2 or 3, he's the second oldest forward on this team, or one of the oldest
29?
forwards
I think
on this
29.
team. Yeah. So if you're looking at it like, would you trade Sam Gagner if he was, having the same exact level of production, which he's having relatively close levels of production to Namestnikov, and a team came calling and said, hey, can we take Sam Gagner off your hands? I don't see why it would be any different for Vlad Namestnikov, given that, yes, they are 3 years apart in age, but 29 and 32 in this league, pretty much,
a lot.
Yeah, marginally different.
What's marginally different?
Built Bars?
Built Bars from their competitors.
He nailed it.
Got
He
it.
knew.
I still got it.
Baby.
He
Unreal.
knew. Built Bars are way better than their competitors. This time of year, you probably
It's a protein
have
bar
given
that
up.
tastes like a candy bar.
It is it's covered in 100% real chocolate, guys. This
Soft
time of
and
year,
easy to chew. Sorry.
Fantastic.
Do you want to do this live read? You want me to share screen with you so you can do the live read?
No, I'm good. Parts that I remember.
Yeah. You've probably given up on almost all your New Year's resolutions at this point. But don't do it this year. This year, you got to stick to your New Year resolution to eat right and get fit, because Built Bar is going to make it so easy for you. It's because they almost don't taste like a protein bar at all with how good they taste. And beyond that, they also have Puffs. Have you tried Puffs? Because if you haven't, you're missing out. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy. They're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar. They're a treat. And they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Again, guys, 100% real chocolate. You can't pass that up. They're low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are better. A typical candy bar is anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. They also have a diverse selection of flavors to choose from: mint brownie, coconut almond, and new this month, white chocolate, cookies, and cream. They are all delicious. New flavors are coming out all the time. If you think they might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious and it'll be good for you. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. It's that pause. People love that pause. We also love Nolan Bianchi, who is here today with us on the Lockdown Red Wings podcast, reprising his role for an episode here. Nolan, we talked about Namestnikov and how he might need to be traded. Another player who is kind of a hot topic this season, and so even is getting some talk about possibly needing a change of scenery to revitalize his career, is Filip Zadina. Yesterday during practice, by the time you're listening to this, he practiced on the first line. He's heating up a little bit. I think he had 3 points in 4 games, but I wouldn't necessarily qualify that as heating up, more or less being in the right place at the right time. Does Filip Zadina need to be traded to get right, or you think it's just in due time?
I don't think anybody needs to be traded to do anything. Like, it's just the conversation, the discourse surrounding Filip Zadina has gotten to be so preposterous that I can't even bring myself to partake in it.
We can make it more preposterous if you want.
No, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is like, the thing is I posted a GIF where I felt like it was an example of, how
it was the play in front of the net where he got the puck pass in front of the net, right?
You got a pass from Ernie, and I've noticed this a couple times where he's gotten these like passes out front where he can kind of do something with it, and every single time all he does is try and redirect it on net. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Getting pucks on net is a good thing. Getting something out of a potential scoring chance is a good thing. But when you watch the video and you kind of see the way the play developed, you kind of can start to say, okay, well, if that was a guy of, the caliber that we perceive Filip Zadina to be, or a guy who he was at the time, or the guy who we want Filip Zadina to be, because I think there's a lot of differences in that sense. But like, I would have liked to see somebody like Filip Zadina maybe pull at Roof, maybe try and go back, maybe just try and do anything other than what he's doing, which is the bare minimum, because I think he's afraid. Like, I think he's afraid of not getting a shot off on goal in general, and feeling even stupider, which is why he just takes the safe play, doesn't really get himself that good of a scoring chance. But hey, he made the right play. He got the puck on net. Now, when I tweeted that out, somebody responded to me. They said, he knows if Jeff Blash, or if he does something crazy.
That
Jeff
was my
Blash
question. Do you
will
think it's
yell at
Jeff
him.
or not?
I'm so sick of that. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous. Did you guys see Moritz Seider put the puck between his own legs while trying to get around Sidney Crosby in the neutral zone 2 days prior to that? The idea that Filip Zadina is going to get yelled at for trying to do a backhand after he gets a pass across the middle that essentially puts him in on a mini breakaway is ridiculous. I cannot wrap my head around, like, these are the conspiracies about sports that like really frustrate me, because it's just like, you can't understand that this, 22-year-old kid, or 23, however old he is now, is maybe 21 even. I can't even remember. I can't
Somewhere in there.
But you can't wrap your head around the fact that, he maybe has tried something like this before and it didn't go well for him, or he felt stupid or something like that, and now he's worried to do it again. So now he just makes the safe play. Like, confidence is so much to do with what a player is willing to try on the ice, which has a lot to do with how successful they are in converting those attempted chances at creativity. And I think what we're seeing with Filip Zadina right now is somebody who is afraid to be creative. He is afraid to take that chance. And so what you see is him being all around the puck, having all these great scoring chances, and then kind of just dissipating. It kind of, the balloon pops, and that's it for him. And what I really think needs to happen is that he has to score a couple of goals where, hey, he does grab that puck, go backhand, and put it, off the water bottle in the back of the net. Make him feel good about taking those chances so that he feels encouraged to do them again, at which point it can become muscle memory and slow the game down, and so on and so forth.
So do you think that is like the only fix, is just like the only way that he's going to get that confidence back is just by netting a couple?
Yeah, because like, if you look at everything else, like, I think that there's still plenty of, like, outside of his sheer production, like the defensive numbers, and maybe they aren't as good as we would have liked them to be, but like, I feel like they're still not terrible. And the whole
They're
thing
not
with him
bad,
has
yeah.
been like, the metrics are saying that he should be having a positive impact on these hockey games, but the fact of the matter is he's not able to bury the puck. Now, a year ago, 2 years ago, I would always used to say, wow, just wait till Filip Zadina figures out this shot. Now, I still think that's his biggest problem. I just think he's dug himself into deeper of a hole, and it's become a little more complex in his own brain, because when you see those opportunities that he gets, it's like he just has such a tight grip on his stick that he can't do anything except for the bare minimum, and he's just nervous to mess it up, and that's the result that you get, is a weak shot into the goalie's stomach.
And Scotty and I actually have we posed this question in a preposterous way, just to get you going. But Scotty and I have preached patience a lot with Filip Zadina, as frustrating as he has been for us. But with Filip Zadina, we always tell people, keep in mind, one, he's as young as he is. I think he's only 21 or 22 years old. And two, he has not played yet in his NHL career a full NHL season, because every step of the way it's been interrupted by something awful. We've had 2 shortened COVID seasons. He hasn't played a full season because of that either way. It's too early yet to write him off, even though it feels like he's been on the team for a long time. His first game with the Red Wings now would have been 2019, 2018, somewhere in that range.
2019, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I understand why people are frustrated, especially with how high he was taken and what people were saying about him. But you got to continue to be patient with him, because it's especially on a team like the Red Wings, who can use anyone they can get at this point in certain positions. Continue to be patient with him and see if he can figure it out. Don't write him off just yet.
And like, I will throw this caveat out there. If another team calls up and they want to offer you a similar type of prospect that you think that maybe you can get a little bit more out of, plus they're throwing in a draft pick, if there's like something in there that like kind of makes it a wash or a win in that trade, by all means, go ahead and do it.
Not
untouchable. If you can,
right.
if you can go out and get somebody by packaging Filip Zadina in there, go ahead and do it. However, don't make a trade because you're like, this guy's eating up a roster spot and he can't put it together. We got to do something about it.
That's the first instinct of fans everywhere. It's like, you're not performing, get out of here. Sometimes it takes players a few years to figure it out. Like that's just how it is. Not every player comes in the league. Proof in the pudding. Dylan Larkin, the captain of the Red Wings, had a down year last year. He hasn't every single year been, he had a 30-goal season, but after his rookie season, he had a sophomore slump. It takes players some time before they finally figure it all out. This is Dylan Larkin's figuring it all out year. He is playing unreal. He's having a better season than he ever has. Guess what? He's not a rookie, guys. It takes time for some players to figure it out. Not everyone's Austin Matthews. Not everyone is Connor McDavid. That's what it comes down to.
100%. Speaking of Dylan Larkin, a little fun fact for you. I was just poking around the other day. Dylan Larkin, 44 points in 42 games. The last time that the Red Wings made the playoffs in that 15-16 season, only one player on the team had 50 points. It was Henrik Zetterberg. He had exactly 50. I don't really know what that says, but I just thought it was really kind of interesting. Actually,
it shows how much good young talent this team has and the direction that they're heading.
Yeah, it's crazy that they were like trying to win playoff series with that roster. Like you have that's like obviously a whole nother conversation, but like you have Zetterberg, you got to go for it. But at the same time, it was just like, geez, man.
No, what are you doing, Holland? BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march through the playoffs right to the big game in a couple of weeks. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live real-time updates of current games. Do not wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline.
BetOnline.
Where the game starts. All right, Nolan, heading into segment 3 here. We wanted to do a preview, and we still do, but we haven't yet talked about the rookies, and I just want to hear your tangent. I want to hear your monologue about these Red Wings rookies, especially Moritz Seider, and why he should win the Calder.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I want to say first and foremost, I did cash out my Lucas Raymond Rookie of the Year Calder future. I put in $10. I got a free $50 bonus bet. I put that right back in. I ended up cashing out at a nice $600 profit. So if you want to call me a trader, if you want to call me a whatever you want to call me, go ahead. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. And honestly, depending on what the odds were, I would possibly recommend doing the same, because I said this at the beginning of the season. I don't know whether or like how this is going to shake out. I honestly have no idea. But I said even before the season started that one thing to be careful with is, yes, Moritz Seider probably will be the best hockey player out of these 3 players, but it's about so much more of that when it comes to the Calder specifically, because it has to do with a team who is not very good. Typically, the Calder front runners play on teams that aren't very good, and so the media who is voting on these awards aren't necessarily watching a ton of these games, and what matters a lot is buzz, media hype, even though that somewhat becomes paradoxical, but and then like sharing clips online and stuff like that, and whoever just the hottest name is, a lot of times that can kind of dictate who the winner is. So if you got a future out on Moritz Seider or Lucas Raymond and you can cash out at a really nice profit, would recommend you doing that. Second off, Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond has been amazing. This whole season has just been like really, really fun. And it's not just because it's one of those situations where, maybe it was when it was just Filip Zadina who was up here where you're like, Red Wings lost, but Zadina scored, or Red Wings lost, but, Zadina had an assist. And it's Red Wings won because Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider saved the day. And I think that's
Alex
like
Nedeljkovic stood on his head.
Or Alex Nedeljkovic stood on his head. I almost forgot Alex Nedeljkovic. And I think that that's probably the most exciting part is they're not only difference makers, but they're guys who are at times taking over games, winning games for you and helping you avoid losses. Like I don't know. It has made it really exciting. Like I think back to that Ducks game on last Monday when the two teams went to overtime and I was nervous. Like I don't necessarily know the last time that I was just like watching a hockey game and was just like, I really hope they win. I really hope they win this game. Like if Zegras would have scored an OT, I would have kicked something, which is like funny to think about the position that we were in like last year, the year before that, whatever. Like they've
the last 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, it's just nice to kind of be at that point and be like, oh, they scored, like goals are more exciting than they used to be, where it was just like, oh, here we go. Now it's 4-1, or this will be over quick, or just this always impending sense of doom is gone. And I think that a lot of it can be attributed to Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond. And so, I think that's probably the most exciting part about what they bring.
Hell yeah, baby. It's the thing is like, when, like you said, the biggest difference is the because of, right? It's a very different feel between, like you said, when you only have like one kid up, and the Tigers are going through, they're lined up pretty evenly there. Like in 2019, it was, the Tigers lost, but like Candelario got a hit, and he was the only person on the roster that you were like, oh, like he might actually be here later. And last year it was like the Tigers won because Mize threw 7 shutout. You know what I mean? Like that's it. The because of is such a huge difference in those like mindsets. And I always think back to one play. I honestly forget who they were playing against. It was probably about a month ago, where it was, I believe it was Mo to Raymond in the neutral zone, then Raymond in between his legs passed to Larkin, who came up then along the side and scored. And that play is just like the play of it's always the play that I go back to when I think about that kind of a thing. And just like we're here, like we're finally here, and we can start taking steps forward, and the bottoming out is over. Like that's the one play that I point to, and I'm like, that's like that's it.
It genuinely feels like, Scotty, like the teardown is ending. Like the teardown has ended, and now it's all about building up from here. We talked to Mikhail Holm earlier today, but I think that episode is going to be out tomorrow on Thursday in lieu of a post-game recap, because I'm going to be working the Elton John concert at Little Caesars Arena, so I'm not going to be able to watch the game.
Sir.
Yeah. So, and one of the things we talked a lot about the Swedish prospects that the Wings have over there, and Simon Evansson is having a comparable D+ 1 year that Moritz Seider had. And now you also have guys like William Wallander, who honestly, William Wallander doesn't get a lot of, hype on social media, but Mikhail Holm didn't have enough good things to say, or had many good things to say about how well Wallander's developed since he's been drafted, and he's going to become a solid defenseman. So like the pieces are in place for the Detroit Red Wings going forward. And now it's just about preaching patience and waiting, but like we're starting to see guys, and I think it's becoming easier to be patient, because guys like Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond and Alex Nedeljkovic are showing up, and they're here now. Like we're just getting the future now. Yeah,
their participation is no longer a consolation prize for the viewing experience that you have to endure. It is a catalyst for fun hockey that you get to enjoy. If I could, kind of sum that up is how I would say it. Speaking on Simon Evansson, I do want to throw out there, I think like I'm very, very thrilled with what I've seen from Simon Evansson in his draft plus 1 year. Like, I don't want to say Cale Makar, because he's a completely different type of hockey player. But if you just look at this kid's skate, look at him wheel and deal, watch how his vision has evolved, how his physicality has evolved, how he's adjusted to playing in a league with men. It is all so thrilling. And his stick is so long. He's so big. He's so fast. Like, I honestly think that, and this is kind of a crazy statement to make, because I think that Moritz Seider is a future Norris winner. I do think that maybe 5 years down the road, we look at this blue line, and if you say, who would you rather have, maybe there's an argument to be made for Simon Evansson.
Let's go.
That's like a very crazy big claim to make, but
I love it though.
Boomer bust. We're talking boom.
We're talking,
Boomer
we're
boss,
talking
but we're talking boom, baby. Hell yeah.
We're kind of running low on time, so we're going to do a very quick Philadelphia Flyers preview as the Wings do play tonight in Philadelphia. First game back from the All-Star break. Game notes. Filip Zadina practice on the top line. We mentioned that earlier. So if Filip Zadina plays with Larkin and Raymond, that could be the line to play on to get your confidence back, like you were saying earlier, Nolan. Troy Stecher is now practicing with a non-contact jersey. He's practicing on a line with Nick Leddy, who had a non-contact jersey on. So Troy Stetcher's out of the non-contact jersey. He could be coming back soon. Jacob Vrana update. There basically is no update. It's progressing well. He said that he's feeling good. It's just going to take more time. So we still don't have a strict timetable on when he's going to return. What else? What other game notes are there? Did I get?
By the way, I do want to
Joe Blando got
hop in
called up?
here. Like, I think that Jacob Vrana could be like an absolute X factor for this team when he comes back. Like all the stuff I said about them fading out, going into the end of the season, I still think that even when he returns, that's the most likely outcome. But at the same time, like when you put him into the lineup, now all of a sudden your third line is like decently respectable, and you also have one of the best 5-on-5 scorers in all of hockey. So I don't like want to overplay what his return can do for this team, but I also don't want to underplay it as well, because you watched the way he came into this team last year and just did exactly what everybody said he would do once he got away from a situation in Washington where he wasn't getting a ton of opportunities like he will be here.
Well, and Scotty and I
doesn't ruin him, of course.
And Scotty and I talk about that. Like we call it trickle down depth, where you get a top line player back, it moves everyone back down into a position where they're more likely to succeed. And when the Wings had Larkin and Bertuzzi out, the team was awful because everyone was put in a position where they like Pew Suter's not a top line center. He's just not. Yeah. But he was forced to play that role. You put him back down at second line, he looks a lot better. Same with Vlad Namestnikov. Yeah, he could serve, as much as we love him, and he could serve a top line winger in times of need. He's a third line winger, and he's a good third line winger. You get those guys back, and it puts everyone back in a position to succeed.
I have had fun watching him play with Larkin when he does get those opportunities. There was chance that they had in that Ducks game where it was like Raymond, or I think Seider kicked it to Raymond. Raymond sauced it across the offensive zone to Larkin, who toe dragged a Ducks defender and got a nasty shot off that Namestnikov tried to bang in for the rebound. Like like plays like that, they haven't existed in Red Wings world in years. And now it's somewhat regular, somewhat on a game by game basis. You're seeing something like that makes you go, holy shit, that was awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been awesome.
I know you're gonna have to bleep that, Brian. You guys have gone soft, but
I think Holm dropped that too. Actually,
it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't care. I try to do it. I try to do the least amount of editing as possible these days, Nolan. So mistakes often stay in. Scotty and I you know what? It's fine. It's
one take, baby.
Okay, here's your preview, guys. Who do you think is going to win, Flyers or Red Wings?
Red Wings.
Wings.
I haven't watched
4-2
game with Philadelphia Flyers hockey.
They're sixth in their division.
4-2 Wings. 4-2 Wings.
There we go. 4-2 Wings. I'll say 3-1 Wings. Nolan?
4-2 Wings.
All right. There we go.
That was what's up.
Philadelphia Flyers preview, expertly done by the three of us today. I want to thank you guys for making us your first listen every single day. Now make your second listen to Locked On Bets. They're your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets is hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. They are free and available on all platforms. We'll be back with a new episode with you tomorrow. We have a special guest, Mikael Holman, Swedish prospect scout, and he writes for Smart Hockey, Smart Scouting. Got to keep that off the top of my head, but we got it. We're there. We got there. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Nolan. Thanks for coming on. Can't forget to thank you.
Right. I'm proud of you guys. Way to pick up the baton and run with it. This podcast has soared to heights that we never experienced when I was manning the ship. And good for you guys. You guys have done an excellent job. And I definitely don't listen as much as I would like to, but I still pop in from time to time. And it's nice to see that you guys are doing a great job. And glad I left it in good hands.
I was going to be like, you certainly did, but I felt that was going to be a little arrogant.
Nolan, you want to do the sign-off, Nolan?
Oh, yeah.
for old time's sake.
See you back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.
Every day.